Welcome to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing, founder of the Reiki Business Collective and creator of the Build Your Reiki Business program, sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business. Greetings, welcome, and thanks so much for tuning in. It's Christian of Standing Stones Healing, grateful and honored to have you here for another Build Your Reiki Business podcast episode. In this week's episode, we're talking about pricing, what to charge in your Reiki business. But first, I want to make sure that you know that coming up in September is the live online Reiki Business Summit. Now, this exciting transformational gathering brings together Reiki leaders to talk about Reiki business topics and brings together practitioners from all over the world to connect and chat about their Reiki business journey. You will not want to miss it. You can learn more and save your seat at special early bird pricing at reikibusinesssummit.com. Also, we are having a free pre-summit preview party gathering open to everyone on July 20th. It's going to be like a mini summit and it's going to be a lot of fun. You can learn more and register for it at reikibusinesssummit.com. Thank you. New practitioners frequently, almost always struggle with pricing. As new practitioners, we have lots of questions about what to charge and what others charge and what we should be charging. And pricing is an ongoing challenge in our Reiki business. So not only is this a challenge, especially for new practitioners and new Reiki business owners, but it is also an ongoing challenge for established Reiki professionals because we may add new products or courses or services. So anytime we add something new, we have to consider its price and what to charge. We change and grow, and we improve, we learn, our skills grow, and so our prices may and probably should change to reflect that growth. And the market changes. Things like inflation, economic changes, they too can impact our Reiki business and therefore our prices. But something that we may not remember or we might not realize is that pricing and what to charge is a challenge for all businesses. We may think in the Reiki community that we're special. I mean, it's hard to put a price on something like a Reiki session, right? How do we do that? And so we may think, it's not so easy for us. Maybe if we were selling something else, it would be easier. But the truth is that all businesses struggle with pricing. All businesses struggle with what to charge and where to price their products and services. So we are not alone. We are simply experiencing that age-old business question of, what do I charge? And so in this episode, I have a few considerations for us around questions of pricing and around what to charge. Will this settle your pricing questions once and for all? No. Because remember, it is an ongoing challenge in our Reiki business. But number one, when we talk about price, we're ultimately talking about a value exchange. You have something to offer, you set a price for it, and people determine whether or not they are willing to pay that price for what you are offering. The price that a person will pay is a reflection of their values, what they value. And values are different from person to person. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you are selling chocolate. Now, I don't know about you, but I like chocolate, especially really dark chocolate. I love 85% dark chocolate. So let's say that you are selling chocolate and you're putting a price on that chocolate of $10 for a chocolate bar. This is some good chocolate, $10 for this chocolate bar. There are plenty of people who will pay $10 for that chocolate bar and say, wow, that's a really good deal on this amazing chocolate. There are other people who will say, $10, that is way too much to charge for chocolate. I might buy it if it was $5. That person doesn't value the chocolate in the same way as the person who's willing to spend $10. And the vegan is going to look at that chocolate bar and say, you can't give it to me for free. I won't take it for $0. I would not pay anything for it, because that person's values don't align with eating chocolate at all. So it's the same product, the same price, and three very different opinions. What this means for us in our Reiki business is that I want to encourage us to know that whatever our prices are, whether or not someone is willing to pay that price, is simply a reflection of their values, what they value. And so if someone is willing to pay $100 for a Reiki session, that person's value of the session that you're offering is different from the person who says, no way would I pay $100 for a Reiki session. Because it's the same thing, the same product, the same service, the same offer, and we have lots of different opinions about it, what that means is that someone's opinion of your prices is not about you. I'm going to say that again. What someone thinks about what you are charging for Reiki is not about you. It's about them and their value system. So if someone says to you, you're charging too much, that says that they don't value it, the session, the course, the product that you're offering at that price point. And someone who says you're not charging enough has a different value viewpoint of that product, that service. So the person who's going to pay $100 for a Reiki session values it differently from the person who would never pay $100 for a Reiki session. Or I shouldn't say never, I should say at least right now, because our values change. Our values evolve as we evolve as human beings. What this means for our Reiki business is that we need to know that always there are going to be people who think we charge too much, and there are going to be people who think we charge too little, period. No matter what your price point is. Someone's going to think you're charging too much. Someone's going to think you're not charging enough. And it's very important for us to let that go, to know that we cannot please everyone. It's impossible. So no matter where we set our prices, we're never going to please everyone. Remember, the vegan doesn't want the chocolate at all. So please, first and foremost, release judgment of yourself for what anyone thinks of your prices, because they are not about you. They are about the person reflecting on the price, the potential client, the potential student. Those views, their values are not about you. There is no fixed amount that every Reiki practitioner should charge. So we'll see a lot of advice out there on what we quote unquote should charge. Again, that value of, oh, you're charging too much, you're charging too little, remember that says more about the Reiki practitioner saying that about your prices than it does about you and your prices. But because there is no fixed amount that every Reiki practitioner should charge, then it is unhelpful for us to be giving one size fits all pricing advice. Anytime someone asks me about pricing, what should I charge? The answer is always, it depends, because it does. Anytime we price our services, our Reiki sessions, our courses, our products, context matters, meaning all of the stuff that goes into the session and your training and your experience, the location, the setup, all of it, that context, it's all part of the context in which you are setting your prices, and all of it matters. So it's determining prices is a multi-layered consideration. It's not just a yep, slap a 50 bucks price tag on the session and you're done. No way, because $50 in Iowa is not $50 in LA. And so we have to take into consideration things like our location, things like our level of experience, the differences in our sessions. What exactly are we offering? And is that more or in addition to or different from a quote unquote typical Reiki session? So I want to encourage us when it comes to our pricing, one size, one price does not fit all for Reiki sessions or classes. This is why doing things like asking what others are charging is helpful to a point, but it's ultimately not the best approach. Sure, it can be helpful to see what others are charging, but remember the context matters. So you're looking at someone charging $500 for Reiki 1, and you might be thinking, oh my gosh, wow, that is so expensive. Well, meanwhile, maybe their class is months long, or maybe they've had extensive training, or maybe they add additional things into the coursework. And so when you just say, what do you charge for your level 1? And you're like, wow, I should charge 500 bucks. Wow, okay, I'll charge $500. No, that's probably maybe not the best approach for you, again, depending upon the context. So there is no one size fits all pricing for our Reiki sessions or our Reiki anything, our classes, our sessions, our products, whatever it is we might be offering. So please take all of that into consideration. Absolutely ask others for just some ideas, some feedback and thoughts, but please, please don't base your Reiki business prices on what others are charging. Now, this might be a little controversial, but even in your local area, yes, indeed, even in your local area, because you might be doing something radically different. Maybe their sessions are all an hour, and maybe you are meeting with clients for 2 hours. Maybe you're combining in additional modalities. Maybe you're doing lots of other things. Or maybe you're doing less, or you're new, or fill in the blank. And so it can be helpful to get an idea of what the market can bear in your area and what people are willing to pay. But it doesn't mean that you have to align your prices with people in your geographic area, with other Reiki practitioners in your geographic location. When it comes to distance services, this gets a little trickier because you are considering oftentimes a global audience. And so, like I said, $50 is not $50 in Iowa versus LA. $50 is not $50 in the US versus somewhere like South Africa. And so for online offerings, there's an added consideration of currency conversion, differences in costs of living all over the world. All of this means I want to encourage us not to judge one another's prices. Reiki is not judging our prices, so let's not judge one another's. Even indeed and in fact, if we don't want to charge anything at all, yes, that is okay. I'm going to just take an aside here. I know this is a little off topic, but I'm feeling called to discuss this right now. This idea of offering Reiki for free, and we should not do that because there always has to be an energy exchange. I disagree. I disagree. Now, you may disagree with me, and that's okay, but I want to ask you, have you ever received anything completely for free with no strings attached, with nothing expected in return? My guess is yes, you have. And so then why is it so wrong for us to offer free Reiki sessions with no expectation or requirement of anything in return, of any kind of energy exchange? It does not impact the healing. It does not mean that the session will not work, that Reiki will not do its thing if there's not an energy exchange. Not true. And so, even if you charge nothing at all, let's not judge one another because Reiki, the energy, is not judging us. Number 3, our pricing changes as our business evolves, or at least it should. So remember, we have an ongoing challenge of pricing in our Reiki business. Well, we should have an ongoing challenge because our pricing should change as our business evolves. And as we change, as we evolve as people and practitioners, as we gain experience, as we learn, as we grow, and indeed as the market changes as well. So don't be afraid to change your prices. It is actually a normal and natural part of business and growth. Now, of course, again, Reiki's not judging you if you don't change your prices, and that is absolutely okay. But we know things get more expensive. The prices of things go up. They hardly ever go down. That means our costs of running our business are probably always going to go up. And at the very least, our knowledge and our skill level always goes up. So make sure that you are always reflecting on your prices and whether or not it's time to change them, because as our business evolves, our pricing should too. Number 4, if you want to charge low, so if you want to keep your prices low, or if you want to offer discounts all of the time, that's okay. Remember, Reiki, the energy, is not judging you. It's absolutely okay. Some will say, don't do that, it cheapens Reiki. But no, it doesn't, because food banks giving away free food do not cheapen food. There are still people who will pay for gourmet meals, right? So if you want to charge low, that's okay. But please keep in mind a couple of things. Number 1, you never want to run a deficit in your business in terms of not charging enough to cover your expenses. So we always want to make sure that we're bringing in more in our business than we're spending, or our business will not last, at least not in the long term. And we know we need long-term Reiki businesses because we know we need Reiki. But if you are struggling to increase your prices out of a sense of fear or uncertainty, first of all, it's okay. It's completely normal. Second of all, it does not necessarily mean that you have low self-worth. That you can charge a low amount and it's not a reflection of your self-worth, but rather just some other things going on. This is why I think that charge what you're worth is bad advice because we as humans are worth so much more than we will ever charge for anything. If we all charged what we are worth, then no one would be able to afford a Reiki session. So I want to encourage us to strike that phrase from our vocabulary because it's simply not true that we should be charging what we are worth because we can't. Let's not attach our worth to a number of what we charge for a Reiki session, a class, or whatever. Let's not attach our sense of self-worth to the cost for a Reiki session. To me, that's just silly. But if you find yourself challenged with increasing your prices, I want to encourage you to, number 4, pretend you're a friend. So if you were your friend, what would you say to your friend about your prices? What would you, as your friend, say about the cost for a Reiki session with you? I think that when we pretend we are a friend, or if we pretend that our friend is the one who is offering Reiki sessions for a 1-hour Reiki session for $10, which, by the way, can happen and can be a positive thing to do strategically. We always want to do it with intention. Our pricing always has to have intention behind it. But what would you say to that friend who's charging the $10 for a Reiki session? Say it to yourself. I developed this tactic years ago when I taught salary negotiation, and it comes in handy for a lot of things, including our Reiki pricing. Now, if you're curious about discounts, I do have a podcast episode on discounts. I'll drop that down below. And number 5, I want to encourage us to have transparent pricing. No matter what our prices are for our Reiki sessions, our classes, our products, please, 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 let's be clear about the prices. Let's be transparent about them. If a potential client or student goes to your website, they're interested in booking a session with you, but there's no price and all it says is reach out to learn more or reach out to schedule a session. And they're thinking, well, I don't even know how much I would be paying. The chances are good that many potential clients and students, rather than reaching out to you, are just not going to bother. And so we may very well be turning away potential clients and students through our lack of transparency because many people are not going to reach out to find out how much you're charging, even if they're interested. Maybe they're nervous. Maybe they're embarrassed to ask. Maybe they're embarrassed thinking, well, why can't I just find this information? Why is it so hard to find? It must be me. But ultimately, it's one more barrier, one more roadblock that we're putting in front of the client to scheduling with us. And the fewer barriers that we can put in front of the client to actually booking, to actually paying and scheduling, the better. And transparent pricing is one way to do that. And it's just good customer service as well. Now, I also have a podcast episode on pricing tricks. I'll drop that down below as well so you can tune in to some pricing tricks, whether you choose to use them or not. Now, there's so much more to say about pricing. There's no way that one single podcast episode can cover it, and there are so many different viewpoints about pricing, which is why we're talking about it at the Reiki Business Summit in September. We're having a full discussion on pricing. Carrie Varela of the Reiki Healing Society is going to join us to talk about creating our dream rates in our Reiki business, how to create aligned prices that feel good. So no more wondering what to charge, no more guessing, no more feeling bad about your prices, whether they are too high or too low. Carrie is going to help us with it. You'll also have the opportunity to connect with your Reiki friends in breakout rooms to discuss, talk about your prices, find out what they charge, and to help get clarity, support, and encouragement on your own Reiki prices. Of course, if you can't join live, you will get the recording. You can learn more and save your spot at special early bird pricing at reikibusinesssummit.com. So, what are your thoughts on pricing? What do you charge? Just kidding. In your Reiki business, what do you think about Reiki pricing? Join us in the Reiki Business Collective Facebook group and tell us all about it at facebook.com/groups/Reiki Biz. Sending so many blessings, no matter what you charge or even if you charge at all, and best wishes to your Reiki business. Thanks for tuning in to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend. Learn more about the Build Your Reiki Business program at standingstoneshealing.com/build, sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business.